Social anxiety is often misunderstood as simple shyness or a lack of confidence. In reality, it is a deeply layered psychological experience shaped by subtle triggers that operate beneath conscious awareness. Many people struggling with social anxiety can't clearly explain why certain situations make them tense, hyper-aware, or emotionally overwhelmed. The discomfort seems to appear out of nowhere, yet it rarely does. What makes social anxiety so persistent is not just fear of people, but the invisible psychological mechanisms that activate that fear. These triggers are learned, reinforced, and maintained over time, often beginning long before adulthood. Understanding them is the first step toward loosening their grip. The fear of being seen too clearly. One of the most powerful hidden triggers of social anxiety is the fear of being fully seen. This isn't simply about being noticed, it's about being exposed. People with social anxiety often feel as though others can see straight through them, noticing every flaw, hesitation, or insecurity. Psychologically, this stems from heightened self-consciousness. The mind turns inward and begins monitoring behavior in real time. Posture, tone of voice, facial expressions, word choice. This internal surveillance creates the sensation of being on display, even in neutral situations. The trigger here isn't people themselves, but the belief that visibility equals vulnerability. When attention feels unsafe, the nervous system reacts as if it's under threat. Internalized judgment from the past. Social anxiety is rarely born in the present moment. It is often rooted in earlier experiences of criticism, rejection, embarrassment, or emotional invalidation. These moments may seem minor in hindsight, but the brain stores them as emotional lessons. Over time, external judgment becomes internalized. The voice that once came from parents, teachers, peers, or authority figures becomes an inner narrator that anticipates rejection before it happens. Even when no one is judging, the mind fills in the gap. This trigger is subtle because it feels like intuition rather than memory. The anxiety doesn't say, "I was criticized before." It says, "Something bad is about to happen." Hyper-awareness of social hierarchies. Humans are wired to sense status, approval, and belonging. For someone with social anxiety, this system becomes overactive. Social environments are unconsciously scanned for signs of hierarchy. Who has power? Who is confident? Who might judge? This hyper-awareness turns everyday interactions into psychological evaluations. Conversations stop being exchanges and become performances measured against imagined standards. The trigger is not the interaction itself, but the perceived imbalance of social value. When someone feels less than before a word is even spoken, anxiety naturally follows. The belief that mistakes are permanent. A common but hidden trigger is the belief that social mistakes are irreversible. A single awkward moment feels like it defines one's entire identity. This is known as catastrophic interpretation, the tendency to magnify small errors into lasting consequences. Psychologically, this belief keeps the nervous system in a constant state of alert. Every interaction carries the imagined risk of social ruin. Silence becomes dangerous. Imperfection feels unacceptable. This trigger is powerful because it removes the safety of human error. When mistakes are seen as permanent, the mind chooses avoidance as protection. Emotional suppression and self-disconnection. Many people with social anxiety learned early on that expressing emotions was unsafe, inappropriate, or unwanted. As a result, they suppress natural emotional responses in social settings. The hidden trigger here is internal tension. Suppression requires effort, and that effort creates anxiety. The body senses restraint and reacts with restlessness, shallow breathing, and mental fog. Ironically, the more someone tries to appear calm and controlled, the more anxiety builds beneath the surface. Fear of burdening others. Another overlooked trigger is the belief that one's presence is inconvenient or intrusive. People with social anxiety often worry that they are bothering others, saying the wrong thing, or taking up too much space. This belief leads to excessive self-monitoring and withdrawal. Social interactions feel like obligations rather than opportunities for connection. The anxiety here isn't about rejection, it's about guilt. The fear of being a burden makes engagement feel emotionally risky. Over-identification with thoughts. Social anxiety thrives when thoughts are mistaken for facts. A fleeting idea like "they think I'm awkward" is treated as evidence rather than speculation. This cognitive fusion blurs the line between internal experience and external reality. The mind becomes a courtroom where anxious thoughts act as both prosecutor and judge. The trigger is not the thought itself, but the belief that it must be true simply because it appeared. The body's memory of stress. The body remembers experiences the mind forgets. Past social stress can condition the nervous system to react automatically to similar situations in the future. This is why anxiety can arise even when nothing is objectively wrong. The trigger exists at a physiological level. Increased heart rate, muscle tension, shallow breathing. The body reacts first and the mind explains later. The illusion of constant evaluation. People with social anxiety often overestimate how much others notice and remember their behavior. This cognitive bias creates the illusion of constant observation. In reality, most people are focused on themselves. But anxiety narrows perspective, making attention feel magnified and inescapable. The trigger is the assumption that one is the center of scrutiny, rather than just another participant in a shared space. Avoidance as a reinforcing loop. Avoidance temporarily reduces anxiety, but it strengthens it long-term. Each avoided interaction reinforces the belief that the situation was dangerous. Over time, the brain associates relief with withdrawal, not resilience. This makes anxiety more sensitive and reactive. The hidden trigger here is safety-seeking behavior itself. What feels protective becomes limiting. Identity attachment to anxiety. For some, social anxiety becomes part of identity. The label turns into a self-concept. This is just who I am. When anxiety becomes identity, change feels threatening. Letting go of anxiety can feel like losing a familiar structure, even if it's painful. The trigger is not fear of social situations, but fear of an unknown version of the self. Why awareness changes everything. Hidden triggers maintain their power through invisibility. Once they are named, they lose some of their authority. Awareness doesn't eliminate anxiety overnight, but it creates distance between experience and reaction. Social anxiety is not a personal failure. It is a learned response shaped by environment, belief, memory, and biology. Understanding its triggers reframes it from weakness to adaptation. And adaptations can evolve. When anxiety is no longer treated as an enemy but as information, it becomes possible to respond rather than react. The goal is not to eliminate discomfort, but to reclaim choice within it. Social confidence doesn't come from never feeling anxious. It comes from no longer being controlled by what you feel.